Yes, hello, my friends. Welcome back, Not in 90 TV. Hopefully, we'll get some new people in because we're talking. People are getting excited over this. Fiona, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Now we've got some, interesting football talk to catch up on.
Brilliant. Yeah, listen, I'm just going to go straight into it. I'm not even going to waste time. People can listen back. Um, Lucy Staniforth. Obviously, she was our first signing from Birmingham on a free. What's your thoughts, feelings about when she first signed, and what do you think? What do you expect from her?
So, like when we heard the rumours, it's one of those kind of I wasn't particularly excited about the signing, but
Mm.
good good to add depth to our midfield, and she's experienced midfielder as well. Um, Birmingham had gotten to like a few like cup finals, or she's had experience in the WSL, so I thought that was a definitely a positive. Um, she like she can tackle, so she's not going to be rolling around on the floor for hours. um, but also I think she's really going to add goals. She's not going to be the one scoring them,
Mm.
but she'll be creating the chances. Getting the ball to Leah or Jane or Jess or whoever's playing, and helping them to actually put away chances. It seems to be like that, that last pass. We didn't have that last season, so I'm hoping
Mm.
that she can play that. She does score some worldies, but I don't have any
Yeah.
expectations on how many goals she scores.
Yeah.
We've been
I
let
thought,
down in the last season, so yeah.
yeah. I saw Jake saying about 5, and I think that's about right. I think we need more goals from the whole of midfield. Obviously, I think she will provide that. I think she's going to take shots from outside the box. I think Casey needs to be a bit free, and I think this is what we're seeing now. I think, for me, I was like, I'm not going to lie, I was disappointed. I was like, Palmer's the one, youth. I want to see everybody succeed at this club. Obviously, I think she's taking it upon herself to sort of step out, whether she thinks she's not going to get enough game time. But I don't think Lucy coming in. I mean, I don't. She's of an age where I think, you know, I don't think anything's going to be guaranteed for anyone. I think this is pre-season. People are going to have to, see who they fit in. I mean, midfield was mostly Jackie, Katie, and Haley, and it was sort of set. Tooney broke into it, and played in that number 10 at up top. Katie had to drop out. Um, and I think that's what Danny's going to bring. He's going to bring that extra competition. I don't think, even in Mark, I don't think Stan is going to come in, right, instantly Stan's playing. But I don't think it's instantly Jackie's playing, instantly Katie's playing. I think it gives that, like you said, it gives that competition. But she brings experience. And I think potentially, because I think we're going a youth way, and we'll get onto that. But I think, Palmer thought, I'm not going to play. I've been loaned out. I've been brought back and didn't play. So there's no room for me. I mean, there's talk maybe that another midfielder might go. I don't want to go into that, but losing 2 midfielders, we definitely had to get someone.
Yeah, I did think maybe we'll give a Dev a chance,
Mm,
but I think Katie and Jackie they do need a bit more competition for places.
mm,
Um, and yeah, one of them's your captain and one is like your world star kind of signing, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be challenged as well. And I think
mm,
as long as Lucy hasn't come with the expectation of I'm going to play every game, I think she has to come
mm,
with the expectation I need to fight to play every game. As
yeah.
long as she doesn't as long as it doesn't affect the changing room dynamics between the different players, should be all okay.
I don't think it will, and I think these signings basically are. It's not going to change it, but it's putting people under threat in a way. Um, Especially like well, we will talk about them, but I think it is putting pressure on Jackie, pressure on Katie, even pressure on Haley Ladd. Who knows? I think potentially there was a case of we need you. We're going up into the Super League. Last year with Jackie, You're our world signing. So I think there was that kind of, you're going to play. You're the focal point kind of thing. Now I just think it's, well, we're constantly improving. Casey made a quote when Shiv went, and we can talk about Shiv in a bit, but when she was, I'm constantly involved in this squad, and I want to give young players, young keepers, a chance. I think now, even with Shiv going, Mary now, boom, Rambo's on her toes. I think she really improved on loan, Rambo, and I think this is what we're going to see now. A lot of youth, and you touched on the devs. I can still see them getting a chance. Hopefully we don't have derbies central, but even if we do, I think people like Rebecca May, she's already made a debut. You need to be seeing people like that coming through. Chloe Williams, Tara Bourne. We need to be seeing it more now. And the chat, and you read that BBC interview, is talk about academy, is talk about youth. And I think that's what we're going to see. Well, that's what we want to see. That's, these next two signs that we're going to, that's what she's offered up to us, youth. And whether, it was youth before and then she sort of went experience, now she's gone back to youth, with the exception of Stanny. But can you see that big change in sort of the policy of what Casey's doing?
I think youth has always been a big part of our team, and this last season, it was our first season in the WSL. We had a very young or very inexperienced team, so we did need to add that, not necessarily star signings, but we needed to add that experience. Jackie, she's played in a World Cup, she's played in front of a big crowd. Jane Ross, she's played around at different teams in the WSL. Hayley Ladd, she's been around, so I think we needed that. But now that we've got that in the team, we can focus on the youth, whether it be somebody coming through the devs, like you said, Rebecca May. This season, if we have a good cup run, nice opponents, I can see definitely starting a couple of games there. I think, now is also a good time for youth to come in, because I don't have high expectations for this season, but the season after that, I want us to be, really challenging for that third place. And so bringing in the youth now gives them a time to get used to being in the squad, how Casey likes to play, how Casey likes to manage, and whether that be the under-21s coming up, they might be part of Manchester United, but they need to learn how Casey likes things done as well. So I think that's a good opportunity this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you just sort of said as well, I see it as potentially last year we were already, we needed that experience. Now I feel like I'm not saying established, but we're an established team. I think LJ has an experience in this league, Toonie has an experience, Katie, obviously Jackie had an experience anyway, but people that probably weren't regular WSL players, Martha, Amy, Millie, who else can I think of? Jess wasn't a regular WSL player. Yes, they'd had little tastes of it, but no one had a full proper season. Katie probably did with Liverpool, or she was around thereabouts, but no one was like a solid, apart from Hayley Ladd, and she's basically was our player of the season. Now, Toonie, even though she probably wanted a lot more game time, she's had the game time in the WSL. Millie played every game in the WSL. Obviously, Abby, even though she was in and around City, she never played consistently all the time, especially centre back. She was more right back. So I think maybe last year was that cementing himself as a team, and then now it's back to what we want. And I think Casey is bringing us youth talent now across Europe anyway. Let's extend it to the world. Well, that's why I'm going to go on to it. I know people have been waiting for it because I've seen a lot of fluster on Thursday. But Ona Batlle, that's how I call it. I know it's not real, but I know you're supposed to say it in a Spanish way, but I say Ona Batlle like this. What's your thoughts? I know Craney said what he said and people have got upset with it, but for me, I think from what I've heard, she's going to be top class. Like, she's 21 or 22, she's already broken into Spanish national team. I think it gives us that attacking down that side that we didn't really have. When Amy played, she was solid, but she didn't get forward enough. And then if it was Lotta or Kirsty, it was sort of lacking from the fullbacks, I thought. Because Alex would be the one that gone forward. Then she left and no one really did. And I think that's what we need. I think our right side, left side's got Leah, but right side it was between Hanson and Jess, and no one was. And I feel like Jess would work better if someone made that forward run and she could pass it on, or vice versa, whatever. What's your thoughts just from hearing the fuss and then little clips that you've seen and just thoughts, opinions? You think she's the starting? You think that's it? Boom, she's in the squad. What do you think?
I think she's definitely got potential. She has broken into the Spanish third national team. So there's definitely they know that she's got quality. And I've also seen she played against America in the She Believes Cup. I've seen her get into the some people have put her in there. She Believes cup team of the tournament kind of thing. I know there wasn't many games, but still, this is against America, who then went to win the World Cup. So that's positive. And I've seen her play as right back or as left back. Now we know Martha and Kirsty can both do that, but I don't expect them to be around long term. Particularly if they're not getting game time, I can imagine one of them leaving. So having her versatility is great, and I agree with you now. She's very attacking fullback, and hopefully we can get that balance right, because otherwise it's very down the left. We're a bit unbalanced otherwise, and then maybe Casey doesn't want us to be bombing forward every game, but it will be good to see Laura on the left, Ona on the right, attacking against, if we're against any championship team, lower teams, maybe not against your Chelsea, your Arsenal, your City, but what about Brighton or Everton? We can be attacking.
Yes. Bristol, yeah. Like when Lotta comes in, it will be Lotta and Ona. That's what I think. Like you said, bigger teams. I think she's got it sussed, but I think our problem. If anyone's watched the podcast on Miami with Rich, football journalist, I don't know if I'm. He sort of said your problems ain't against the big teams, and I don't think it is. I think it was 1-0 defeats, but it was like the penalty, it was this and that, it was ball over the line. I think we can get through those teams. Even if it's just taking a point, this and that. It's the games against you, Bristol, 1-0 lost. Games against you, Brighton, 1-1. And those two games were just, especially Brighton. Brighton was, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And we needed someone to take a ball and just bomb. And I think, I don't know, I didn't play a lot of that game, but it's what it is. We needed something. We needed energy, and we didn't have any, and it was just dire. And I think the Bristol game, people know more. There wasn't those balls. There wasn't like the 1-2 quick passes and a cross, and I think that's what we need to see more of. And Casey even says, listen, that's the game where I learned the most about myself as a manager, about my team, about everything, that Bristol game, because it's only when two came on and when there was a bit of energy, movement, that's when you saw things. And so I think we need that from the back, pushing forward, driving them girls forward. Because I think if back's pushing forward, then your right midfielder has to push forward, your striker, everyone's pushing forward. Whereas I feel like we sit too deep, and especially against the, Brighton, come on, or a Bristol. And I think people are saying about now, does these signings change the way she's going to play? Is she still going to play with two holding? What do you think? What's your overall thoughts?
I think if we're going to have two very attacking fullbacks, maybe you do want to have the two holding, but personally, I wouldn't. I would, because as Lotta and Ona are young, quick, athletic, they should be able to get back if they need to get back. And they also should be able to read the game. So then we should only really have the one holding midfielder against your Brightons and your Bristols. There's no need, particularly if they're playing one person up top. I don't think there's a need. I don't know if Honor will start every game. I think it's something like Lotta. She has to get used to the WSL. She said it in her own interview. It's different. It's more physical or whatever. So don't want to just throw her in the deep end. People are all excited to her, and first game she doesn't perform, and everybody goes, "Oh, that's pointless signing," because we know she's got potential, but she has to get used to that physical side. She does look like relatively strong, but the WSL is different. You have to be strong. You have to be like Kirsty Hansen or Jess Sigworth kind of strong. We don't want you just being pushed over, particularly as a defender. So I do think this season is going to be more about easing her in, making sure she's comfortable. And the season after that is when she'll really kick on. But I think she can still do a great job against those weaker teams, against your Bristols and your Brightons, your Evertons, your Birminghams, whatever. She does look very energetic, offers us something a bit different, maybe some overlapping with whoever's on the right, that kind of thing. Or maybe she can, if she isn't starting every game, she looks like she'd be a very good impact sub because she can run. Say half an hour left, the other team is a bit tired. Bring her on, rapid down the wings. Defender won't be happy with her coming on. So I think as long as Casey has a plan A or a plan B, I think Honor can fit into both plans, however she wants to play.
Definitely. I think that was our problem. Essentially, we didn't have plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. It's not just about plan A. Jake's popped up. Hiya, Jake. Yeah, sometimes we didn't have a plan A. But I think that's all the learning. Jake feels like Honor will be a regular. Maybe force Amy Turner out of right back. She'll have to fight for a place at centre back with Abby. Yeah. Listen, this is not about keeping favourites or everything. I know Jake's favourite is signed, but even Lucy Stan is going to push people out and move it all around, change it up. And I think this is what, I think Amy did a fantastic job. But I agree with you. I think, Amy, how old is she now? 28, 29? About my age, yeah. A young little whippersnapper, 21, comes in. I'm not saying she's going to retire, but look at Shiv. Shivs is 34, and she realises, let's a young whippersnapper of a team, Youth FC now. And I don't want Amy to go. I think she will always, I think she's still providing that high level. And a lot of people even said last year, they'd rather Amy over Abby. Not like thingy, but Turner and Turner, bring that back. I think centre back, I prefer at right back, let's say, because I do think it's all this up in the air, and these aren't the things that we have to decide, Fiona. But I do agree with what you're saying. I feel like people see, Martha. She did really well last season. She went in that left back. She covered. Kirsty Smith. I think she really stepped up. For example, there was times in the championship you're thinking, oh, but for WSL she's looked solid throughout, and she's really stepped on. A lot of these players ain't really stepped on, but it's like you said at the start. Are these players going to be with us forever? We're going to have Martha and Smithy and Amy forever. I'm sure they know as well. And this is what I want to see. I want to see people fighting. I don't want you to think, oh, well, the fans love me or whatever. And of course we love you. Of course we love every player, but I don't want it to think like that. I want it to be like, bang, this is pre-season. You go fight for that space. I don't think anyone's space. I think if you had to say any space now in this team, and I'll throw it back to you, Fiona, is set. For me, there's only two. Leah at left wing and Hayley Ladd in the midfield. After that, let's go. Everyone's space is up for grabs. And I think if you just have it like, oh, don't worry, you're always going to play because you're my captain. Don't worry, you're always going to play because of this. Don't worry, Jane, we've got to sign you in a big long deal. You're always going to play. No. And I think this is what everyone needs to realise now. The space is there. You did a great job last year. Fantastic. I think even some of these championship players did better than the established WSL players, you know? If you look at centre-back, you know, Millie she only played there last year, but I think, bang, that's youth FC. Millie's still youth FC to me. 2023. Abby's a bit older than her, but, you know, she's experienced now. She's got that year in a tank. And, you know, I mean, what would you say, Fiona, if you had to say the spaces are guaranteed, like whose spot is guaranteed? I don't think anyone's is, but like I said those two names. Would you add anyone else into it? Would you change it?
So I definitely have those two names. I'd probably add Millie Turner in there, but you never know now that Amy's there competing as well. I think Millie is definitely up there. I think you could probably say Mary up there as well, but I would hope that Rambo is given a chance in like the cup games, you know, given a chance to perform and actually show. Because let's be honest, at Manchester United, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen what she can do. But other than that, I think it's all up for grabs. What happens in pre-season? Don't know. Is Jess gonna be on the wing again? She's gonna be fighting with Jane up top. If Jess is up top, who's going on the right wing? What's happening in our midfield? Because it's all so competitive now. And then full backs. Anybody's opportunity now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who this is, and I can't say the name. Sorry, but they've just said if we need attacking fullback, look at Anderson from Chelsea, one of the top assists. And listen, this is what we wanted from Alex. I think we wanted Alex to be that person. I think Alex would have been top up there, like in terms of defenders assists last season. You know what I mean? She was already in the championship. She was one of the top assisters, and I think that's put a spanner in it a lot. You know, so much. And I mean, you know, the same person just said this about Lotta, and this is where I think Lotta and Ona maybe are different, because Lotta came from part time. Levante were third in the league last year in Spain. Lotta came from a part-time Swedish tier 2 team. You know, Lotta has that potential as well, but it was so last minute. You know what I mean? That it was, and I know people mentioned different left backs that we could have got. You know, I'll even say it. Poppy was one that I really liked, but I think it was so last minute. I think you don't know whether they went to try for Poppy, but she was already under contract, settled there. And so, you know, the paths haven't worked out in that respect. But I think, you know, Lotta and Ona, I think we'll see a bit more from Ona than potentially Lotta, just because she has been full-time. She's playing for the Spanish national team, Levante, top team in Spain, you know. I don't want to put that pressure on her that say Jackie had, but you know, I think she will see. Kira has said, see, you got new people. I think it must be Spanish. On the left, Amy on the right. Preferable option. Listen, I don't know, because maybe it might be that Ona might be on the left attacking, whereas Amy's on the right defensive. I do feel you sometimes need that attacking defensive kind of thing. I think Ona probably would link up well with Leah. Both like to bomb forward, both brilliant at crossing, assists. Who knows? I'm going to move on though now to the third and final. We can talk about it all. Guys, drop questions in. I can see you watching. Come and get involved. It's a big chat. Ivana Fuso, yeah. Yeah, just going back. Lotta didn't have a proper preseason. Someone's just saying something. All Levante players left for Real Madrid. Bar my girl. She's come to us. But yeah, I think potentially. I know people have said stuff about Ona. I'll put it back up. I mean, Lotta. People have said stuff. Oh, it's not what they expected. They're underwhelmed. But it's like you say, look at it all. Right now, this is, I think, different. I mean, obviously, COVID has sort of hampered her again. But
this is the season.
Look at it. She came out of the season from a part-time. This is it now. Boom. This is the year of Lotta, really. This is where we want to see. And I think it's the year of all of them. You've got to show your best.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Fiona?
This is the season where Lotta needs to show why we signed her. Last season was great. We were, just coming up in the WSL. She came from a part-time team, tier 2. So, yeah, we probably had too high expectations, but this is the season now. She's had game time where she's got used to the WSL, you'd hope. She needs to show it. She needs to be fighting to claim that number 1 spot on the left back. That she needs to be showing why it's her. So she needs to fight for it. No more Miss Nice Girl. She needs to be fighting. And I think she can do it. So we saw it last game at Everton. So now she just needs to do it consistently.
I'm going to move on to it though. Listen, if you guys want to still talk about Lotta, Ona, or they play together, drop it in. We can come back to it. Ivana, though, I noticed, I think I've forgotten it off, but this is where I see it now. I didn't say LJ before. I said the two, yeah? And it's not because I don't think LJ is not that best player, but who knows how we're going to play now. Got Ivana in. She could come and steal LJ's place. LJ needs to know it's not guaranteed. LJ didn't play every game last season. There's times when she was on the bench, come off the bench. She's and this other girl's 19, so it's either the one rest. I mean, we don't. I mean, this is the one that we know the least about. We know there's so much tiny bits, but the things that I've heard and I've seen, she's rapid. She's like, I don't even want to say it now, but this is where I say to people, forget about who's this and who's that, because this girl looks like Ebony Sun Part 2. The pace, people were saying she'll latch onto through balls, Jackie balls, and other than Jess versus Reading, no one was really taking advantage of it. Whereas there's a channel that I speak to, and they were sort of saying, don't expect her to be an out and out 9, but she's just in that space behind, and you play the ball through, bang, she'll get it. She's quick. She could be the one. They could put her on the right wing. Who knows? Because if she's got that pace, it could be her and Ona linking up, or it could be her and Amy T linking up. Who knows? Obviously, let's not. But I don't know. Some people heard of it like just the night before. It was just a massive shock when this Fuso popped up, isn't it? That's what I felt anyway. Fiona, what about yourself?
Yeah, when we announced it, my first reaction was who, and then the second thing was let's Google this and find out who she is. Yeah, she's relatively unknown. She came from the Swiss league, which not heard too much about. Isn't one of the top leagues in Europe. She's been in the German Bundesliga as well, but didn't have much game time. So I think she's definitely one for the future. There's lots of potential. I've seen quite a few YouTube clips of her as you said, rapid, getting on to the end of through balls. Maybe offering something a little bit different. I don't see Lauren as being that kind of player too much, running on for through balls, at pace and going for goal. I see LJ getting on to end of through balls and then looking like what she can do rather than being rapid. It'll be interesting. Again, I don't know if Casey will be giving her lots of game time this season. It could be that she's making lots of impact sub kind of. That's going to be her role. She does need to get used to the WSLs again. But if she's quick, bringing her on as an impact sub, that's what LJ did quite a few times, and we saw lots of brilliance from her because she is quick. When you've got a defender who's tired, they'll make silly mistakes against LJ. Maybe they'll do the same thing for Ivana. Yeah, it was. Casey must have been watching lots of youth football for the last year or so because
Casey was at
yeah.
Casey was at the Euros in Scotland. All of her team were. So I know she went to see Eva there and potentially she saw Ona there. I'm not sure about this Ivana if she was there.
Well, I've heard
But I
she's
know she
played
was at the one.
St.
La
George's
Manga.
Park. Yeah.
Yeah, and Casey was there too. So she obviously watches it all. And when I was like Casey, she's actually work mode and she don't speak to you. So if you ever see her somewhere, I'll probably be all right with you, Fiona, not me.
Depends if there's a football match.
Yeah, no, oh no, it was after. It was full time, but she still walked away from me. But it's life. This Ivana, it reminds me, right? The way that people are describing her. When I went to watch Ebony at Sheffield, I was thinking, right, when they play them through balls, when Katie does this. This is before we had Jackie. So when Katie does this, ball over the top, we need someone, because that's what we're missing, to run onto it. And all last season, I was watching our team thinking, by God, why get rid of Ebony Salmon? Because this girl would be lapping it up. And, she came to LSV, she scored. If you watch all of Ebony's goals, they are just, boom, balls, through balls, latches onto it, bang. I'm not just saying that's what Ebony is, but she's that quick, pacey striker. And if this girl is anything like her, and I don't want to compare them, but for whatever reason, beyond our control, we don't know, you can say this and that, people can, whispers of this and that, but I don't even want to get into it because I love Ebony and I think she's a fantastic player, and I think we messed up by getting rid of her, and I was hoping she'd come back, but I think this signing is pretty much get on board with 3 games for the team it was, and then she left, so she's got a bit of a sharpness in her. She just left, quit left, and went to the Swiss League, Basel FC. She scored about 10 goals in 18 appearances, which, like you're saying, it's the Sleaze. Let's see what's happened. But I think they're full time. I think she's full time anyway. She's the captain of the under-19s, which says a lot. She played against England, another one of our defenders, Nom. She knows Eva. So I think they're quite similar players. I don't know. She might be the one instead of Eva, because I think there's a lot of talk of this clause now, what it might mean. We'll find out next week, definitely. But here's someone with you, Fiona. She's going to be good off the bench, which we lacked last season. Yeah, definitely. I think games like we keep going back to, well, West Ham. I mean, we need someone solid in there, but if you're bringing on, them defenders were tired when LJ came on, bang, it was a goal. You bring on LJ and, Ivana, you're laughing. I mean, the games where, say, LJ doesn't play like a West Ham, she can play, and then bring her off and bring LJ on. And I just think these kind of players are gonna. I'm not saying everyone's running scared of a 19-year-old, but I think bringing on pace and then bringing on skill, or starting with skill and then bringing on pace, it is gonna be tough for them. I think our defensive record was one of the best last season. It was just up top scoring. Hiya, Jack. Thanks for joining us again. Really appreciate everyone who's in the chat today. Fiona, I mean, we've sort of gone into every player once. What do you see? What do you expect this? And for me, I've said it. I think we can go for third. I'm not saying we will. I think we can. I think that should be an aim. I know you've sort of touched on what you see, but no, just tell the people. Do you think that I'm being unrealistic? What do you think?
I see. I'd rather be more. We'll be fourth again, but we're hoping to close that gap to third, because then I think that's the minimum, and anything we do more than that will be positive. Whereas if I say I want us to be third, and then we don't get that, that's a bit of a disappointment. I think looking at how well we did this season, we didn't perform great. So I'd like to see performances improve, and that will hopefully lead to better results. But for me, fourth was. I don't see fourth being a challenge anymore, because we got that comfortably, and with the signings we've got, we should be progressing. Casey should know how she wants to play and actually be able to use those different plan A, plan B to actually get better results. So for me, I want to be saying, how close are we to third? I want that gap to be, we're fighting for third. Close that gap, rather than looking behind us and say, who's coming to get fourth from us? Everton are putting more money into their team. A few of the other teams are, trying, signing people as well. So we need to be making sure that gap to fifth is as big as possible. We're not looking behind us. We're only looking forward, and we are fighting, whether we're fighting for third or not, or but closer than, I can't remember the gap.
Putting the heat on, making it difficult for the third place.
If say City who's third or whatever, if they think if we lose a game or if we drop points, we're risking it. We need to be making them think like that, rather than at the moment, and for the last few seasons it's always been like, we'll be in the top three and 2 out of the 3 get Champions League. But we're always top 3, no worries. And I think we need to be saying, no, it's not going to be a top 3 anymore. It's now going to be top 4, four top clubs fighting for those 3 Champions League positions.
3 positions, yeah, exactly. That's what we need. And you know what, as well, I think, and we'll go on to something else in a minute, but we got to the semi-final the first year, the Conti Cup. We got to the semi-final again this year, which I think we were even stronger in it. And I think there was moments in that Chelsea game where 2 or 3 moments I thought we should have scored. And I think, yep, you just said my thing. Sue. Boom. Cup final should be I think no one's saying let's go and win it, but I think we've got to that semi-final, bang, now let's do the final. Once the final, it's a one-off game, and God, if we win it. And Kira just stepped up and said something that I say. LJ and Fuso learn a lot from each other off and on the pitch. Off. Listen, that's what I want. I want to see chemistry now. I think they know each other from the age groups. They all know Eva. She probably knows Ona. I want to see that chemistry. I want to see them building relationships. We're talking about her a little tiny bit, Fiona. Eva, do you see that happening? Do you see a player? She's sort of like right wing, I think. Do you see someone else being brought in? What's your thoughts on the rest of the transfer window?
I definitely think we still need somebody who can play on the wing, because I think Ivana probably can cover those positions. But I think we need somebody who's maybe a bit more developed who can play on the wings as well. Nobody's going to be pushing Leah off the left wing, but we've had injury issues where we haven't had the depth, and I think that's something we still need to work on. And if Ivana's better playing as a number 10 or as a striker or whatever, I'd rather we were playing her in a position rather than making her play on one of the wings where it's not her natural position. So yeah, I can definitely see another winger coming in. I don't know whether it'll be Eva because I think it was posted on Instagram that she'd had surgery. And we saw what happened with the World Cup last season and Lotta and Jackie and everybody coming into pre-season late. Obviously we've still got what is it, almost 2 months till they're back playing matches. So they'd still have plenty of pre-season, but I think if we can get somebody in sooner rather than later, that would be ideal. And yeah, I also agree. So we probably still need another striker. Whether it could be again somebody like Ivana who can play up front and on the wings, that might be not too bad. Or if Jess is only going to play up top and we're not going to have her on the right wing, then maybe we don't need that striker. But we definitely need somebody in attack.
Well, you could say now, depending on the way Casey wants to play, we've already got 4 strikers. LJ, because she plays up top a lot, Jess, Jane, and now Ivana. And I think we're not in. I think that adds depth up top, but do you think one of them might go? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth because I think everyone's under sort of. Jess is just signed a new contract. Everyone's sort of under like long-term contract. But does that ever then suggest, right, we're just gonna have 4 strikers, let's go and see what happens next year, and then with one of them, or do you think like you just said, do you think it means like Jess is now gonna be like permanent right wing or something like that?
See, I like Jess up top in the centre. I think you probably agree. A lot of people agree that is Jess's best position. I personally don't like LJ as a striker as much. I prefer her as a number 10. But then we have so many people who can play as a number 10. It'll be a bit of a challenge. But I do prefer somebody in front of LJ because that gives her space. If she's the striker, I know she's like good on her feet and that kind of thing, and she doesn't need much space. But I think that's
can play
the best out of her.
And John has sort of made a suggestion where we've not really talked about centre back. What do you think about that? Do you think I can't see them doing it. I can see them just getting like a he agrees with you though, John. I can just see them getting a winger or a striker or like you say, potentially both. I prefer Jess up top. I think everyone's LJ just behind. I think everyone all season was saying Jess up top, Jess up top. And I think potentially this Youth FC, we've got Jane there as the oldest team member. I'm not saying anything, but if you've give the young players a chance. I think we do still need that experience, but I think for me now the experienced players are Millie, are Amy, are Jackie, Katie. I think that's the experienced player, and I think for me, she's got that middle sorted and strong, and I think that's where we need pace on the wings, pace up top, because too many midfielders. Someone's saying Jay. Sorry. Is there a backup for Lad? Listen, I think Stanny will be the backup for Lad. I think Stanny played a lot. I think, for example, now what I think we might see, she's talking about bringing you through. Maybe she might get Eva, or she might get someone, but bringing through Maria Edwards, someone like that. Putting say a Phoebe Holland on the right wing. I think Maria, I don't think she's a real winger. She's a winger, but she's not, but she's small. But I'd say she's a 10 as well. But she can do bits. And I think we need to see people. The devs are doing bits. I'm hearing little things that they're signing some really experienced players. Everyone heard of this Carrie Jones midfield. That's where I think the devs is strong as well in midfield. And if they're old enough, they're good enough. And I think, for be honest, people might say she's too small, but I think Maria Edwards is ready. I think let's see what she does in thing, but I think she should be that backup kind of, if we do get an injury, I think put Maria in because she scored something like 20 goals in about half the amount of games. She was scoring 2 goals per game, every game in the development squad. Yes, she was 16 then. Now she's only 17, but I think you're old enough, you're good enough. And I think with numbers like that, it can't be ignored. And, just all this push, Martin's been brought in, he worked with them, so he knows who's the standouts there. I think there's all this push now, what I'm hearing in the chat, the rhetoric, as I'll say, the philosophy is this academy, Man United way and all this. So what do you think, Fiona? Do you think we're going to see players coming through just like that? Or do you think it's going to take a bit of time?
I'm hoping, particularly with this new Martin guy, we do see a bit more youth coming through. He's had experience with them with last season. Hopefully he can help bridge the gap. I think in the women's game, the gap between the devs and the first team is probably bigger than the men. So, I wouldn't want to throw anybody in the deep end. But, in your attacking positions, you can try it out with the youth occasionally. I think the issue is going to be, I can't remember those particular rules, but there's the registration rules. I think it's like up to 3 games or something like that.
Yeah.
Before they have to be like properly registered. I think that might hamper opportunities. It depends on who we get in the cup. If we get City again, straight away, or if we get, I think who was it, Ipswich in the 4th tier they were in it. If depending on who you're against, you can sometimes mix it up. Maybe one or two devs in.
Who our Conti games are. We'll know that league. We'll know who we're going to play in advance. And I think we had so many Super League teams. I don't think it's going to be like that again. I'm not saying we won't have a City or whatever, but it'll be. I think we'll get a Sheffield in there. Might get a Durham in there. A couple of Championship, and then a couple of might get Villa even. I mean, if we've got City, Villa, Sheffield, and Durham, that's prime. In my opinion, the devs should be playing, especially the Championship games. They should be playing them. Someone like Maria on the bench coming on for like 20 minutes against the Championship side. It should be happening. The devs should be going out on loan. We might loan a fullback. I don't know, because there's a right back coming through, Phoebe Holland. She plays right back, right winger. She's that kind of player, and I think she's. If Charlotte Newsham is still here, that's someone who's pushing left back as well. But there's good things going on in the devs, and it's like what we said, innit? No place is guaranteed, and I think even if you do then nail down your spot, bang, there's someone should be always breathing down your neck, not just an experienced player, but a young player wanting to push and break through that team. And it's youth FC now. That's how I see it.
I think
we love you forever, youth FC.
I think we should be looking for the devs for that 4th centre back, because if we've got Abby, Millie, and Amy, and Amy are both very experienced. Millie's now got that experience as well. If we do need a 4th, I think we should be looking to that devs to help bridge the gap. Show that pathway.
Let me tell you, Fiona, Poppy Lawson, that is the one that's come through. I'm telling you. Captain, been here since 5 years old, loves this club, always watching football, always, every game I go to, she's there watching it too, learning, experience. I think we need to get her in there with Amy and Millie, get her in there. That's the name. or Chloe Broughton, but Poppy is the name, captain. Come on, leaps and bounds.
I do worry sometimes, if the Conti games are midweek, if the devs have got a game on a Wednesday, I'd rather them guaranteed game time in the dev rather than coming to sit on the bench. But if we only have, how many games do we have in the Conti? Maybe 4 or 5. If they come and sit on the bench, take it in turns. So somebody on the bench one week, somebody else the next week. So they're getting used to that LSV atmosphere as well, because it's not just about being experienced on the pitch. It's how do the first team do things, what's it like in the stadium, because nothing worse than then coming on and being like all starstruck or, nervous in front of a big crowd. So, I think the Conti could give us some devs opportunity.
Yeah.
But don't forget that if they're playing midweek, I think, you've got to balance it. I think you and Dave have said that on your channel before. It's that balance, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But I think if you're going to bring devs up, you've got to bring them up to do something, like you said. And Rebecca May came on. She brought her all the way down to Reading, and she came on and she did a little bit. So even, to be fair, when she came on at right wing or left wing, and that's not even a position, but she was tenacious, snapping into tackle, didn't let anyone sleep, and that's what you see. Fiona, is there any last thoughts? If anyone, any guys in the comments, do you want to say anything? Because I think me and Dave are going to come on to more about the devs next week, more a bit about Martin. Maybe there'll be more signings to talk about or departures. Who knows? But is there anything, like one last thing that you want to add before we go and watch the boys get 3 points, hopefully?
It's going to be an exciting season because of these new signings and because of this youth coming through. People definitely want to get down to LSV and watch this team now push on. It should be a really exciting and interesting season to see what Casey does.
Yeah, definitely. I think people have had their moment and they've fallen out of love, not with the girls, but just with thinking, oh, Casey, you need to do this, Casey, you need to do that. And I think we've seen this now, that it seems like there's I'm not saying there wasn't last year, but it definitely just seems that there's one philosophy, and that's youth, whether it's English, British, European, and then let's get this license and push on for worldwide youth. So I don't know. Casey last year talked about they were moving out, they're looking to do it up. The Cliff's going to be their home. It's been said that the Cliff will be their home from the minute they moved out. And I know that journalists are now asking questions regularly. Casey said in an interview, the facilities are improving. So what does that mean? Apparently LSV is getting better. I don't think they should be at LSV. I think they should be in a club environment. I think especially with COVID, LSV is public. I'm not saying that LSV facilities are probably better than the Cliff at the minute, so that's why they're there. But it's a public kind of place, and that's. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that, the Cliff? I know Molly wrote an article about West Ham moving to a training ground, and the club were just said, "Oh, we're at LSV. That's it. There's no kind of answer to questions as to the Cliff." But that is a point. That is a topic of conversation at the minute.
Yeah, it's nice to have everything together at LSV. Match days there, trainings there. But yeah, if the Cliff is up to scratch, it'd be great to have somewhere a bit more private. Nobody coming and watching training when there shouldn't be that kind of thing.
Exactly. Just for me, it's a no-brainer, especially with this COVID. It's a no-brainer to get there. But listen, I've heard talks that they might be extending Carrington. It's just how long is a piece of string, I suppose. And I think if there was enough room in Carrington, they would already be there. It's not like a Liverpool situation, this, I don't think, anyway, where they're purposely leaving them out. I think that they can move them. It's just actually currently now, the Cliff isn't up to scratch. We've seen videos from it. There's little, it's like it looks good on a video, but it's, the stands are being held up by scaffold. You know what I mean? So I think LSV, the facilities are better, and state of the art, but it's a public place, which obviously we don't want. Fiona, where can people find you if they want to interact or contact you? Shout out your Facebook and your Twitter and your Instagram if you want.
Get me on Twitter, FSL09. Nat retweets my posts occasionally. Sometimes she likes a tweet I make. Always talking about football on there, talking about the girls.
So get onto it, and obviously you know where to find me, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Put a like on this. Tell me your drop comments in after if you're watching after. What do you want us to talk about next week? Do you agree with our points and all the new signings? Thanks a lot for listening. Really appreciate it, guys. Bye.